Hello, everybody. My name is Aaron Canole, and welcome back once again to the Movie Battleground. Tonight, we have a very interesting edition of the show. Those of you who are on the Facebook pages for TMG know that in the last year or so when the show began, we had this big ass tournament that lasted way too fucking long and had way too many complications to make it worth it. But we did it. And we allowed people to submit brackets, and as a prize for placing high in those bracket competitions, we had a couple of pet competitors that got to put some matches together. Now, Chad Webb was one of them, and he just posted his match without much input from me. Medee Raymond was another one. He also kind of took care of his match. But these are guys who they're a part of our hosting team. They've hosted stuff and run stuff before. They didn't need the help. But tonight, I have a guy who is just so lovable. But it's like turning the show over to the loony bin. So I've decided I'm going to be here just to oversee. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the only potato that you need, but not the only potato in this match tonight, Mr. Jake Tato. Jake, how's it going, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It's a terrible decision on your part, but let's have some fun.
Hey man, I that's why I'm here to babysit. I just saw Jacob's comment in the background, and yeah, you're right. I that is correct, Jacob. Thank you for that. So yeah, man. So I got to ask you because people may or may not know that the people who got to produce these matches also got to pick the pair ups. Now they didn't get to do whatever they wanted, but it was based off of how I grouped the competitors based off record. So what made you want to pair Caleb Hansen and JPO?
These are fun people who have fun times, and that's all I want to see. I just want to have some laughs, joke back and forth, and I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know, man. Maybe we'll see some bloodshed, though. Stuff might get chaotic. Who knows? It's a wacky match with me involved.
If you somehow make somebody bleed, I'd actually be impressed. But we will see what happens. Let's go ahead and introduce the first of the opponents tonight that you picked. Coming in with a record of 2 wins, 2 defeats, he is JPO, Jordan Owens, or should I call you fried potatoes? Because this is a rematch, as people may or may not realize. That is a dead joke that he asked me to kill that I will bring back for one time and one time only. But Jordan, how are we doing, sir?
We're doing good. Tato, you want fun? Fun Jordan died in Florida. This is Arizona, Jordan. I am here for blood.
What have I done?
You actually had a better chance of finding blood in Florida, I feel like. There's probably just needles of it on the ground somewhere. But
damn, shots in Florida. No, I'm just kidding. Excited to be here. Excited to see your faces. Excited to see my opponent here in a second. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. Simple as that. Jake, any questions for Mr. JPO here?
Jordan, why you do this? Why you turn heel?
Sometimes it's fun to be evil.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sit you in the back and introduce your opponent. Coming in with a record of 2 wins, 1 defeat. He is the most mashed of the potatoes in all of America. He's probably ranked like 5th in Ireland. He is Caleb Hansen. Caleb, welcome back, sir. How are you doing? You are muted.
How he's
then doing. We can figure out how you're doing.
I always do that. All right. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited for this. It's been a little while. And you know, that one on my record there was given to me by Jordan, so hopefully I can get a little revenge. I'm excited by it.
Yeah, absolutely. You come in a bit of an interesting position. Obviously, you guys have played before. That last time gave Jordan his 2, but since then he's added a second 2 on the other side to balance the scales, and you've got yourself an extra win there. So
yeah, somehow I'm the favorite. I don't know.
Yeah, the momentum kind of counterbalances itself. Jake, do you have any questions for Caleb before we get going? Your potato brother, so to speak.
Yes, he is a potato brother. That's another reason for this match. I just like putting potatoes everywhere I can.
Like a true Irishman.
Why you do this? Why you turn heel? Oh shit, he didn't do that. My bad. What are your thoughts going into the match? Except you already said them. Carry on, my wayward son.
I mean, like, if you want, some of my thoughts. I think one of these questions was kind of rigged. There's only one answer, but we're gonna fight it out and see how it goes. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have a good time.
Hell yeah.
Jake, I let you write one match and we get accusations of rigging. Oh, God. All right. Well, it's question 2, ladies and gentlemen. Let's stick around. I'm not even going to play facts there. Let's see what happens. So,
Oh, I thought he was talking about another one. Hey.
No, he very clearly made his thoughts clear in the setup chat. Like,
Yeah.
You were there, Tato. You read it, or forgot it? I don't know.
Either way, there technically was more than one answer. That person made movies in the 90s. Let's go ahead and get into it.
I think we can end that
just wait
segment
till I
with
take
what
myself
Jacob
off
put
screen.
in the chat. Tato is baked. That's correct.
That is probably true. All right, guys, let's get into it. Movie Battleground is a best of 5 rounds. It is the first to 3 points wins the match. Each round is worth 1 point. If we do have 3 points in a row, that is a victory by knockout. If it is a 2-2 tie at the end of 4 rounds, we do have a blind round question ready to go should we reach that point. In terms of how the actual debates work themselves, the questions tonight were provided by our quote-unquote producer in Mr. Jake Tato. The competitors have had their time to prep and put them together. They will get 60 seconds to open their argument, followed by 2 minutes to expand and explain their arguments. A 4-minute open debate will then follow, where they'll get to talk back and forth, trade blows, and respectfully get their points in, followed by a 1-minute closing argument to surmise and wrap everything up. In the background, I do have 3 judges in Jacob West, Richie Goodacre, and Ryan Payne. They will come on screen and make their deliberation based off what they've heard to decide who wins the round. With all that said, do any of you guys have any questions for me before we get going?
Yes, if they want to send me their PayPal info.
That can be handled in the private chat. Caleb, you have just as much of an open opportunity. I figure if we're calling questions rigged, might as well throw all the rules out the window. With that said, though, I'm going to go ahead and toss the game over to Jake. May God help us all. I will be in the background should anybody need me. Jake, please take it away.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. There are definitely ladies here. They watch the show too. A wink. Jim Carrey is a fantastic actor, known mostly for his dramatic work, of course. However, for question 1, I went with a bit of a curveball. And question 1 is, what is Jim Carrey's funniest performance?
That was on me. I told him to give me a cue. I didn't expect the cue to be pointing, but I'm ready. Continue.
And the first person to answer this question will be JPO. I believe there will be some clock action happening at this moment. JPO, your opening minute starts when you begin speaking.
Yes, Ryan, I also have Venmo, and Papa, can you lower your fee? It's a little bit too much. But speaking of Jim Carrey, yes, as you said, Tato, a fantastic dramatic actor, but he does the funny pretty well as well. Nobody has had quite a year and quite a breakout year as Jim did in the year 1994. You had The Mask, you had Ace Ventura, both really fun flicks, maybe a bit polarizing. One that I don't think is very polarizing that a lot of people agree on is him as Lloyd Christmas in Dumb and Dumber. Absolutely hysterical. Still holds up to this day here. It's the kind of movie that you can find yourself quoting without even thinking about it here. He walks the perfect line of a character that in other hands would be deemed too dumb, would be deemed unwatchable, and maybe even to a degree. But he is such the actor, such the guy that makes you fall in love with this character, no matter how dumb he is, because he has the personality. He knows how to land those lines to the T. Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey as Lloyd Christmas is my pick for funniest.
And time. Caleb, your minute will begin when you start speaking.
All right. Well, my pick was for funniest Jim Carrey movie is Liar Liar. It's just a really good movie. Also, like as well as being really funny, a funny performance. You find him he's actually got somebody to bounce off of, I think. And he's surprisingly heartfelt, and you get great performances out of a lot of people, but also out of Jim Carrey. I think one thing that that Jim Carrey does the best is when he's kind of mixing genres a little bit. He gets to flex his dramatic chops, like you actually feel him, and he's very heartfelt in this performance, while also being his like outlandish, silly self, doing all the physical comedy that just as well, or if not better, than in Dumb and Dumber. And he just knocks it all out of the park. It's a hilarious performance from him and a good movie all around.
And time. We will go to Jordan's 2 minutes.
All right. I think we both have good picks here. I'm a fan of Liar Liar as well here, coming out just a few years later after Dumb and Dumber here. But when I go to funniest, when I follow my heart, and the thing I will get the most laughs per minute, it's Dumb and Dumber. I understand that, yeah, I like that Liar Liar has, the moments with the sun and whatnot, but man, Dumb and Dumber is just beats per minute. I think the funniest movie of the bunch. You mentioned him bouncing off of other people in Liar Liar. Dumb and Dumber is the best two-hander you can have between him and Jeff Bridges. I'm sorry, Jeff Daniels. I've always done
There
that.
you go.
I've always done that. It's a Paxton Pullman thing for me. Jeff Daniels, the two-hander that they have here, man. And again, the great, wonderful backstory of Jim Carrey fighting for Daniels to be his co-star in this movie here, because you could see Carrey knew what kind of movie this was. He knew the person he needed to bounce off of. If you had someone like a Carrey trying to do the same shtick with him, this movie wouldn't have worked. But Carrey was smart enough to know, even early on in his career, this is a leading role that a lot of actors would have just shut up and just taken it and ran with it. He knew that he had to kind of fight for the right co-star to make this movie gel so well here, to have those moments, to have the quotes here. Again, I just go by all the moments here. The way he does this character here, again, I'm just so fascinated by the way he pulls it off, because the most annoying sound in the world, everything that he does and say with the birds, all the way to the very end, chasing her, falling through the airport. He does it so well to where you're with it the entire time here. And I just think, again, it is the funniest movie, I think, in his bunch here. There's a reason why, so many years later, we still clamored for that sequel that a lot of us would like to forget here, but we still champion that first one here, going into it being just the funniest moments with Jim Carrey. It's the reason why we still love this man to this day, and we don't want to see him go away. And hell, if you said Dumb and Dumber 3 was coming out, I bet you would still be interested based on how much you love that first one.
And time. We will go to Caleb's 2 minutes.
Whew. All right. Okay, I think Jordan is bringing a lot of personal opinion into this, going with it, that it's the funniest. I think there's a lot of stuff in Dumb and Dumber that doesn't quite hold up. I think he's a very one-note character, and Lloyd is. I mean, they both are. Like, that's kind of the whole point, right? But I don't know. I think that it's a really subjective thing, but like it's a classic Farrelly Brothers movie. It's less Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey funny. Like he's doing a bunch of like fart jokes and being the most annoying person and just looking silly. I think in Liar Liar he gets like to really stretch. Like you even see outtakes in the end credits of him just going off and doing crazy stuff and being like the best Jim Carrey that he can be. Also some of the freaking jokes, like the pen is royal blue. Like I love that stuff. You get the heartfelt like comedy also with the family, with Moira Tierney and playing against Jennifer Tilly. And there's the roast scene when he goes in and the partner lady finds out that he can't lie, and he takes her into the board meeting of all the partners, and like he just roasts everybody, and then like he collapses. Like he's doing all the physical comedy that you would see in a Dumb and Dumber type of movie, but also getting a great performance, I think is more impressive than just doing the one note, always be joking. That happens in Dumb and Dumber. It's not, yeah, and that's it. I'll concede my time.
And those 5 seconds will go by the wayside. Fantastic stuff so far, ladies and gentlemen. And
Where
now
are the ladies?
I don't know, man. They exist, I promise, somewhere. We're gonna move on to the 4-minute open debate. Please be respectful of each other, as I know you gentlemen shall. And time will begin whenever the first person speaks.
Liar Liar has some really good moments here, but again, when I think you go overall just funniest, the thing you find yourself quoting, the thing you find yourself going back to, I definitely, and I think a lot of people lean towards Dumb and Dumber. You know, Liar Liar has those couple, like you said, the pen moment here. It has a couple good moments here, but overall, he's kind of a scummy character, really, and he's kind of forced into being a better man because of this trick. Like, you know, you really don't like him at first, and I love the hat trick he pulls off with Lloyd. Yeah, but again, if it wasn't for that magicness, like you're not totally involved, and in the end, he ends up back with the wife because you're like, he doesn't totally earn it, really, in a realistic way. Not a realistic way is not the right word, but like in an earnest way.
That's kind of like besides the point because we're talking about the funniest performance, right? But
yeah, that's why I was saying. That's why I was going back to this thing shoehorns in on the humor here nonstop here. It doesn't have to be segued with the relationships, you know, which is nice. But again, I'm going for funniest. Mine focuses on the funny from beginning to end.
I mean, I feel like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber, again, like I've said, he's kind of one note, but also he's like a little bit forced to like be the
you believe him though, man,
or whatever.
And never like, do you see really a performance. You believe him as that. If you want to say one note, you believe him as Lloyd.
He's got to drag any comedy out of Jeff Daniels, like.
No, but that's what the point I was trying to make before. You don't want another Carrey in that movie. You wanted Daniels to play that more of a straight man. That's what makes Jim Carrey that much funnier.
But in the script, he is meant to be just as funny as Jim Carrey, and he doesn't measure up.
But that was by design. That was by design because if you just have two comedic forces battling each other, then that shtick of Lloyd. If there was two Lloyd Christmases, it would be too much. It would be too much, and that's what makes him the funniest because he gets to kind of steal the show in a way by still having a decent co-star.
Sure. Okay. So then, Liar Liar, you've got Jennifer Tilly. You've got what's her name? Krista Allen no, that's not who it is. Who's I don't remember. I wrote it down somewhere.
Tilly's good looking.
Her main rival in the firm. They're playing off of them. There's Carrie Elwes. Like those scenes are. And
I wish he ended up with Carrie Elwes in the end.
I mean, yeah, kind of, but like, just him trying to do the claw is freaking one of the funniest things ever.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, obviously it's opinion based. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but like it's cutesy, but it's not something. That's not something I'm going to be quoting with my friends when I'm, you know what I mean. Even now, you know what I mean. Something I might have joked when I was a kid, but you know these quotes are eternal.
Okay, but we can go ahead and point out like the entire courtroom scene towards the end when Carrey like wins the whole. Was it custody battle, divorce case with Jennifer Tilly and her husband? Like you can't tell me that's not.
It's that yes, that dude. No. Like I said, I said from the get-go, I like Liar and Liar, but again, I feel like you're mentioning like one or two like the great moments in this where I just feel like again you go from the bird scene to the airport in mind to them traveling to them picking up Harlan or seeing Harlan Williams as the cop to them picking up Mike Starr. Yeah. There's almost every moment. It's almost every scene. Like it doesn't get segued too much by like a romantic storyline, a son storyline.
It just goes hard. It's kind of a weak story, to be honest. Like, I mean, there's it is a bunch of little sketches that they can put people in and put people out. Do this and then
to be funny,
like
yeah.
it doesn't matter like in the
Yeah,
end
but
at all.
you're
Like,
looking for a funny movie. I'm not, and then sometimes you want the heart and humor, but I love a movie that doesn't need to be dragged down by
Sure,
relationships.
I gotta just throw in also like his relationship with his assistant in the office at the firm is also hilarious.
And time. Good spirited stuff, gentlemen. There are no ladies. Who am I kidding? We will go to the final minute of Jordan Pierce Owens here.
Hey, that's me. Jim Carrey in the year 1994 put out 3 fantastic movies here. With the one that I think is the least polarizing because Mask can be dark. He's mature. I think he can be too over the top that you don't like the character anymore. He finds the perfect balance in Lloyd Christmas. From the first scene to the 7th scene to the final scene here, you love the journey with this guy. You love the fact that the two-hander with Jeff Daniels, because again, he's not trying to outshine him. He's the perfect counterbalance to keeping a lot of the laughs, at least the bigger laughs, the character laughs, to Jim Carrey. Liar Liar is a funny movie and has some great moments, but again, it also gets dragged down a little bit just by it needing to fill the shoehorn in with the son and then the ex-wife here. And as far as it just being beats per minute, the funniest performance, the character, Match Players can probably tell me, but like, what's his character's name in Liar Liar? Like you remember Lloyd Christmas, you remember the suits, the moments, just the little faces of spraying the mouth and everything in Dumb and Dumber beats per minute. I think is just the funniest performance by Mr. Carrey.
And time. And Caleb, with your closing minute.
Well, first of all, his name is Fletcher Reed, and yeah, I don't know. He's I think jokes per minute don't necessarily equate to good jokes per minute or being funny. I think there's a lot of that stuff that could be thrown out and is a little bit dated. I'm got to make the argument. I love Dumb and Dumber, but there's a lot of stuff that doesn't hold up in there. Whereas Liar Liar is a good movie, but also is hilarious. And you can tell it is Jim Carrey being set free to be the best and funniest Jim Carrey that he is. You see it from the outtakes. You can watch behind the scenes things. Like he is being his most Jim Carrey and doing everything that he does in Dumb and Dumber, but better. And he's not a one-note character. He's a well-written character, and Liar Liar is the pick.
And time. A fantastic debate, ladies and gentlemen. I said it again. I'm going to bring in some fantastic judges. Boom, boom, boom. Not a lot of fact checking in that round. Very highly opinion-based questions. So, Fletcher Reed is Jim Carrey in Liar Liar. I didn't check that. I'm just going with that as fact. And Jim Carrey is also in. He's also Lloyd. Whatever. Papa West, Richie Goodacre, Ryan Payne. The first judge I will go to on this situation is Papa West. What do you think about this debate?
Tato, you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I do think JPO and Caleb did a great job in this. I did like the back and forth. I am going with mashed potatoes, Caleb. I just liked the rebuttals, everything JPO brought up. Caleb did a good job of countering that, not only building up his movie, but also attacking Jordan's movie. I thought he did a better job.
Fair play. Rich G, what say you?
Yeah, but a great debates by both guys. In the end, though, I went with JPO because I just think that I heard more as to why his choice is a funny performance. I think maybe Caleb got more hung up with why Jeff Daniels was not as funny going off Jim Carrey, and why it's not it's not his performance in general is not as funny, and Jim Carrey's performance in general is not as funny. So I went with JPO.
Gotcha. And to Ryan the muted Mountain Pain, what say you?
This really was very heated back and forth, so I'm really trying to get down to nitty gritty. I'm gonna give my point to the person I heard the most when it comes to trying to convince me of their pick, and that is JPO, because he did give more specific examples for Jim Carrey and why Dumb and Dumber was a funnier performance.
All right. With that, the first point of this match goes to JPO. Thank you, judges. We will move on. And the second question of this debate also involves an actor, because, movies have those sometimes. Hey, I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. That said, question number 2. What is Matthew Lillard's best performance of the 1990s? To my knowledge, he was not around in any other 90s. Caleb, you have the honors this time. Your minute will begin when you start speaking.
All right, so here we go. The best 90s Lillard performance. Oh, I had so many options to choose from, but I picked Scream. This is his kind of breakout role, the role that got him a lot of things down the road. He's doing some of the things that you've seen from him before in smaller films and stuff, being the wacky, weird animated guy, but also he's legitimately creepy and scary. You don't really well, that's the cool thing about Scream, is that like you do suspect him and then you don't suspect him, and then it turns out that like he's one of the killers. It's just a really good breakout performance from this otherwise kind of unknown actor at the time. And yeah, it's Scream, best performance. I yield my time.
And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clicky. Jordan Pierce Owens, your minute will begin when you start speaking.
I like Matthew Lillard a lot here, actually, so this was a pretty cool question here. But again, the one that just jumped straight to my mind is, of course, SLC Punk from 1998. It's a really great time capsule movie here of a certain movement and scene, and he is so good in it here. One of the rare leading performances, too, by Matthew Lillard. And, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, because it's a movie that, again, I think he's so good in it here. He's able to really kind of show his range here, because you see a little bit of it in Scream, where he can be very funny, but he can also be very dramatic moments here. It tangles of relationships between women, friends, growing up, and you're with him the entire way here of going into adulthood, and the idealistics you have as a rebellious teen might not necessarily fit into what adulthood life is, and there's some traumatic moments with him and one of his best friends that will just bring you to tears here. And again, it's one of the rare times you can really see everything that Lillard can truly bring to screen when he's given the chance.
And time. A delightful beginning to this one. We have Scream versus SLC Punk. Caleb, mashed potatoes, your 2 minutes when you are ready.
All right, so SLC Punk is it's a really good movie that I don't think many people saw. It's a fun activity or whatever, but it's just it's a little indie movie. I don't think anybody saw it. It didn't do well. It took like kickstarting and like crazy amounts of work to like make a sequel. But Scream like has that performance not only like got him like further down the road and made him a star. It's also just super like well done. He's creepy at times. He's funny. He's the comedic relief in the movie. He's always playing off of Jamie Kennedy. Just really fucking with him, and it's fun. But in SLC Punk, I don't know. You don't get that something. I don't know. I yield my time.
Alrighty, solid minute there. We'll let this timer clicky. That's my new statement. Clicky. I'm rolling.
I like it.
Thank you.
Make some t-shirts.
Your 2 minutes, Jordan. On you're ready.
You mentioned SLC Punk, and yeah, I feel sadly it hasn't been seen by enough, but it's definitely 100% got a huge fan base behind it here. That's the reason I saw it. It was something that I had a couple friends be like, dude, you haven't seen it? You like movies? Check this out. I actually ended up buying it, I want to say, from Hollywood Video on their dying days for like 50 cents, and absolutely fell in love with it here. You mentioned the sequel. That, in a way, very much proves how good of a movie this is, because a little scene indie that was definitely an indie. You look at it; it's made relatively cheap, and didn't get much box office. Years later, got a follow up. It's not because obviously, Hollywood producers were going, "We're gonna make millions off this sequel." It's because people loved this world, loved these characters, and people wanted to see a follow up, which unfortunately didn't have Lillard, and I actually never even saw the follow up because Lillard's not in it, so I didn't want to necessarily go back if it to that world without him here. But yeah, the sequel I think proves that there of the fan base of this movie here, of this world. It's a great timeline too of you really follow Lillard. You actually kind of see a bit of like a whole life here, if you will, here of a teen growing into adulthood and almost trying to battle it back, but being succumbed by it after all, but still having that little bit of an edge here. You really see a well-rounded character here in SLC Punk. Scream, it's a fun movie, but again, it goes back to kind of just the little moments here. You have a little bit of it between him and the group. He's kind of being weird, and he's got the fun video store scene, and then he's got that great scene at the end. But that's it. And he is kind of he's that one kind of character that he doesn't really get to change. He plays Stu, and he's a fun kind of wacky, like Mashed Potatoes kind of set up. You kind of suspect him, but then he's so kind of over the top and suspectable you don't. But then at the end, it's kind of very obvious, especially from rewatches. And he's got that one great scene at the end here. But SLC Punk, you laugh with him, you cry with him. You know what I mean? You really do see him from like a teen into adulthood, and a great well-rounded future for Lillard.
And time. Good 2 minutes. From or 2-1, whatever you want to call it. Who cares? We will move on to that 4-minute open discussion round. Again, be respectful. You guys are awesome. Do the thing whenever the first person speaks. Time will begin.
Have you ever seen the SLC Punk sequel? Yeah, I think you muted.
I don't know how that happened. I didn't do it on purpose this time. Yes, I did see the SLC.
Any good?
Sequel. No.
All right, that's what I
thought. Basically the heroin Bob character is Machine Gun Kelly, and
oh no.
Well, and it's supposed to be Heroin Bob's son is the main character. It doesn't matter.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go too long.
Yeah,
I just was curious.
Yeah, it's really not good, and they didn't bring Matthew Lillard back, but they did.
No, I think.
Sawa.
No, it's got a couple good cameos, and I'm glad they're able to do that. I like Sawa in this. He plays a different character than you've ever seen too. But we're talking about Lillard here. Yeah, I just think, this is the best well-rounded performance here, man. There is some really funny moments in this as well. I love the relationship between him and the leading actress, and as well as the friend heroine Bob. Tragic story.
Yeah, tragic story. I think the thing about that movie is they like kind of make you like him, but if you really think about it, like he's kind of a terrible person. This is like the movie. He's like a violent, horrible person, and then big twist! It turns out he's a poser the whole time. Like, yeah, okay, a little bit obvious.
I don't know. I definitely wouldn't use the word obvious here, but I think it's a human characteristic portrait of of this guy trying to create this persona.
I think what I'm saying is that I think maybe it tried to stretch Matthew Lillard a little too far. There's a lot of stuff that he doesn't deliver on, especially in those more quieter conversations.
I kind of agree with that. What I love about this one here versus Scream, he feels like he's trying to do. It's a showy performance here, and Slc Punk, as you kind of said, he has those quieter moments here of the moments with the girlfriend here, or even the quieter moments with Bob in the apartment. Like you see the quieter side
on
where it gets come. I think he does so good about knowing when to pull back. I very harshly disagree with that. I think he knows very much in Slc Punk when to pull back and become a real human being. That's where you see the poser, if you want to call it a poser side, come out.
Sure. But with in Scream, I mean, he's like a solid main character. He's entertaining the entire way through. And I think you maybe like downplaying like that scene at the end when he's stabbed and he's like thinks he's dying. Like the performance on that is kind of like shocking from that character that you don't expect. Like
I'd say it's very in the vein. I'm saying it's a bad by any means, but it's very much in the vein of that character here.
Sure, that
you know what I mean. A little loopy and very self-absorbent, as you've seen earlier in the film.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. This is really hard. I don't have any more attacks for Slc Punk. I can't. But yeah, his performance in Scream is great, and that's all I got, man.
It's a fun performance here, man. I love Scream. I probably have seen it probably triple the amount of times I've seen Slc Punk because it's very easily accessible and watchable horror film. But yeah, I just think Lillard, like I said, it's a very eclectic cast. He kind of, I wouldn't say gets lost in the shuffle because I mean you're balancing a lot of different people here, but he has, like I said, there's three moments that kind of come to mind where I'm like, oh, he's quite funny, and then the end scene when Slc Punk, he is kind of the main dude, and even like, there's not much in the movie really without him. You know what I mean? Even when there's other characters introduced, it's with him still, and he's able to kind of have showier moments at the clubs or at the school.
Can I just be honest? This is exactly why I have a problem with this question, because this is the only movie that he did in the 90s that he was the star of.
And that's clicky.
And time. We will go to the final minutes. And the person who has the honor of the first final minute is Caleb in this situation.
Oh yeah, I totally do. Look, Stu Macher is a good character, and it was the breakout performance for Matthew Lillard. It's the reason he got Slc Punk. It's the reason he got Scooby-Doo. Because of he showed that he could be more than just kind of the bumbling idiot stoner friend that what he was kind of typecast as. They brought him in as that character, and then totally twisted our perceptions of it. This is in the 90s before we knew him. It might be obvious going back now as a rewatch, but at the time this was revolutionary. That they took Matthew Lillard and was like, oh my God, it's this guy. This guy's nuts. And I don't think he would have had any other movies anywhere near the career that he had if it weren't for Scream. And his performance therein, especially like I said, that like Jordan pointed out all the good points, like the video store and the end scene. is just truly disturbing. So Scream is the pick.
And time. And Jordan, to bring this question to a close, you're 1 minute when you start speaking.
I wouldn't say, Scream is the only reason here. He was building up a nice little filmography beforehand with stuff like Serial or Mom, Dead Man's Curve, and Hackers. I thought he was really good in as well. So, Lillard was getting there, man. Oh, that. But no, I'm just saying, Scream, like I said, yes, I mentioned the 3 moments, but the first moment's very fleeting here. The second moment here, you know what I mean? He's able to kind of chirp in a couple lines when it's mostly kind of Kennedy at the forefront, and then at the very end, he gets to have a little bit of a showy performance here. SLC Punk, when you just talk about overall performance here, this is his movie to own, and this is why that continued to get him work for many years afterwards, to get him both whether it's leading or co-star, because you're able to really see him on so many different levels in a movie like SLC Punk, whether it's him being the poser you find out at the end, whether it's him, having the rage moments, whether him losing a best friend, falling in love, growing up, you laugh, you learn, you know what I mean? You really go through the motions here. It's a perfect time capsule too. There's not too many movies like it, and Lillard is fantastic in it.
And time. Another great debate. Let's okay, again, minor fact checking. Can confirm Matthew Lillard not in the sequel to SLC Punk. Anyway, that said, let's go to Rich G.
And this is this is actually tough because even though I feel like Mashed Potatoes got a bit flustered there, I did think he brought up some good points, and he did. I don't want to sum stuff short. I think it was a tough category. And that I think he did a good job explaining why his performance in Scream was so important and why it led to roles in like SLC Punk and why is its performance so iconic. So I'm actually going to go with Mashed Potatoes here.
Ryan Payne, what say you?
Well, I think I'm going to lean more towards JPO on this one. I've not seen SCL Punk, but some of the arguments and some of the positives he said about that film has drawn my interest into actually wanting to see that film. But he did bring a strong argument on why it's a good Matthew Lillard performance, and it's a movie that not many people knew about in his filmography. So if you're able to find some gold out of that, then yeah, I give him the point.
Caleb noting that it is SLC Punk, standing for Salt Lake City. And we will I didn't say it, man. We will go to Papa West as the decider.
The only Punk that Ryan is familiar with is CM. Anything else, he just in one ear, out the other. I have to give Mashed Potatoes a lot of credit. It's definitely hard arguing a better movie with a smaller performance versus a not as well-known movie and a leading performance. It is a very tough thing to do. It's possible, but I definitely commend you on your efforts. That closing was phenomenal. I do think, though, that JPO just had too much already in the tank by the time we got to the closing. Really controlling the 4 minutes. I think he did a better job in the build-up. So I'm giving it to JPO.
Great analysis there, Papa. Great. Thank you, all judges. Jordan up 2-0. We will move on to question number 3. Witty comment: what is the worst movie starring a wrestler? JPO, your minute when you begin.
So I went with one of the favorite former world champions of all time, David Arquette, was accepted. So I had to talk about a movie called See, Spot, Run. We mentioned before about how much fun Scream is, and that helped build up David Arquette. So Hollywood said, "Hey, let's see what David Arquette can do in a lead." And then after this, Hollywood said, "Never mind, that was rad." Should be what is a simple family comedy, a dog family comedy here. But I feel like this is the opposite of Slc Punk in the fact of it's a movie that has been forgotten and for a reason. Even as a kid, I saw this prime time when it came out, and I'm like 11, maybe 12, and even I was like, "This is just not funny here." It relies on very typical ball and poop humor that you've seen done better in movies like Beethoven here. David Arquette with very spiky blonde hair is not a fun lead here. You're never charmed or anything by this character here. It's a dud.
And time. Sounds like a pile of dog shit. You can go whenever you feel ready, Caleb. Mashed potatoes.
Sorry, I'm going to take a second just to jump in here for the audience at home in case anyone wants to question why David Arquette was accepted as a wrestler. This was something that was approved by me because when you research David Arquette, his career list in order is actor, former wrestler, director, producer, and then fashion designer, which is not a thing I know he did. And in fact, if you go to Wikipedia, which for things like actors is pretty much the accepted basis of finding research on them, because why the fuck would you lie on David Arquette's Wikipedia? The opening paragraph actually has more words spent on wrestling than it even does his acting career, thus making him valid enough as a wrestler. Just like to throw clarification out in case anybody questions it. Caleb, when you are ready, sir.
All right. So my pick for the worst movie starring a wrestler actually stars a wrestler, so that's cool. I picked the movie 12 Rounds by Rennie Harlan, starring John Cena. Very early in his career, you can tell that the only thing he's got going for him in terms of acting is being a superstar. And unfortunately, a lot of the movie focuses on him by himself or standing around people that are ignoring him while talking on a cell phone. So you get a whole lot of time for that horribleness to shine. It's just really bad. The villain's played by Aidan Gillen from Game of Thrones and other stuff. Is just the silliest thing, and I'll leave it there until the next round.
And 3, 2, 1. That also sounds like a pile of dog shit.
Oh, it is.
So, a fantastic contest we have. Let us see how this goes. JPO with your 2 minutes.
I just wanted to fact check something. All right. So you cannot argue David Arquette's not a wrestler, by the way. In the year 2019, David Arquette had more matches than John Cena. The man trained hard, and he actually had quite a run on the indies, doing some really great stuff here. So David Arquette, very much valuable answer, as Aaron confirmed earlier here. So the thing with C-Spot Run versus 12 Rounds here is neither one really succeeds that much, but I think mine fails just that much more. 12 Rounds is, I think, it's a very passable action flick, which I don't feel like anyone would argue is ever what it was trying to be more here. WWE Studios, I don't think ever had lofty aspirations to being the next Godfather. They made See No Evil, they made this, they made The Condemned, and they're all very much in the B-, C+ category here. You mentioned Aidan Gillen. He's a fun villain here, man. He's doing his best to have fun and to give to actually be kind of a fun villain that you're ready to see die at the very end. He succeeds in it here, and this is a good test for John Cena that you at least saw something in him. You see 12 Rounds, and while you're not exactly blown away saying give this man everything, you at least see something to why they kept going with John Cena, and they gave him more things down the line, including other studios outside of WWE here. C-Spot Run was, I think, between that and I hate to say it, but Ready to Rumble was kind of the nail in the coffin of the kind of leading performances here by David Arquette here, because he doesn't really command the screen here. Unfortunately, I think he proved the opposite of what John Cena proved, which is that he's more of a supporting character. He's more of a Dewey. He's more of, you know what I mean? The friend, the dad, than he is a commanding lead performance here, because unfortunately he doesn't own all the comedic elements. He's not a commanding lead performance here, and the jokes just fall flat. So much so that they fall flat for everyone. I've seen this years later on cable with my nieces. It didn't impress her. We turned the channel here. It just fails on almost every level here. 12 rounds. You got a good director, Rennie Harlan. He's got some decently shot action scenes. It's passable at the very least, and not the worst.
And time. Caleb, give you a second. Your 2 minutes whenever you begin speaking.
Okay, so 12 rounds is a ripoff of Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's literally the exact same plot of Die Hard with a Vengeance, except instead of the brother that got killed, it was Aidan Gillen's girlfriend, I think. She got hit by a truck trying to escape John Cena, and somehow that means that he murdered Aidan Gillen's wife or girlfriend, and that's why he broke out of prison, to set up this whole elaborate thing of 12 rounds of games that are very loosely like formatted. And one point they is like, oh well, that was round 10, your partner arrested this one guy, so round 11 is going to be, oh, I just blew up your partner now. Like there's no definition of what the rounds are, but they took Die Hard with a Vengeance and they smashed speed into it, because you got to have some fun action scenes where he gets up on top of a streetcar that has no brakes. It's just bad. It's all around bad. There's no character development. The acting is so wooden, not just from John Cena, also from Ashley Scott as Molly is just terrible, his girlfriend. And then you get the dude from The Practice, freaking Steve Harris, as like the dick FBI agent, who is actually the only character that has any like character development in the entire movie. And it turns out he was a dick because the villain killed some people that he loved. It's just they just took the best action movies and were like, we're gonna throw John Cena in this and nobody's gonna notice. It's terrible. It's all shaky cam footage. It's like this the whole time, the whole friggin' time. It's just so hard to watch. This is
and time. Again, we have a solid argument going on. Again, the 4 minutes shall come, and again, be respectful, and the time will begin when you speak.
So let me go ahead and lay out this whole plan that we're trying to do, apparently. So round 1 was, I'm going to call John Cena and then blow up his car and then blow up his house, but not kill anybody. Round 2, he just kidnaps the girlfriend. That was round 2. There was no game. The whole thing is that we're going to play these 12 round games. All right, round 3, go find a phone, but he's got to like work out latitude and longitude on this house. Then he's got like 2 or like 5 minutes to get or something to get like across town to a safety deposit box. That's round 4. All of this happened in 32 minutes in the movie. Apparently, he went across town 4 times. All right, and then round 5, he's got 7 minutes to rescue this, or to try to find this guy. They go up in an elevator. He's got to save the fat guy from out of the elevator, pull him up. Oh, but then he blows the bomb early, so like the game was rigged. This is only the 5th round. Holy crap! Then he's got to go.
All right.
Get on a bus with a bomb. Doing the speed thing. The hostage bombs. Like it just keeps
a lot
going.
of rounds.
It's so
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. You're not wrong, but at least something is happening, and at least it's entertaining enough that they are doing something here, that they are setting up these different, like you almost said before, like vignettes, different little rounds here. I like the elevator scene. Yes, he races at the end, so it's tomfoolery by the villain here, but at least something is happening, and you are at least getting through. Okay, what's next? Let's see if you can get out of the next one. Let's see if you can outsmart him.
Can I get one more point in? All right,
Absolutely.
So all of this time, he's paying exact attention. He knows exactly where John Cena is every time, like the whole time of the thing. But apparently, he was also doing a Die Hard with a Vengeance heist from like getting $100 million. That was actually the whole plan. But then his plan for escaping is to just have the girlfriend fly him out on a medevac.
At least you said that this is an amalgamation of other movies here, and it's hard to argue with that, but at least it's an amalgamation from a director who knows what he's doing, and it's a little shaky cam, but it's better shot. There are some better, like I said, the elevator scene I thought was actually really well shot here. The ending sequence here, you at least have someone that knows what he's doing. I looked up C-Spot Run director John Whitesell is his name. He just did television. My movie's even boring looking here. You mentioned all the different action sequences. Again, at least there's something happening to keep you engaged, and it keeps you relatively at least engaged into what's going on. Mine is just the dog gets loose in the grocery store. Now we got to find the dog over here, and there's just not much going on in mine where you are just bored to tears, whether you're a kid or an adult. 12 rounds, it's sufficed enough to where it even got multiple sequels down the line for other wrestlers, because at least you can do something with this plot.
It's more offensive. So full disclosure, I couldn't see C-Spot Run because I refused to pay for a movie that we're arguing about what the worst movie is.
And you made the right decision.
Could not see
Good,
it,
you saved your time.
But I'm very interested. I mean, you got the kid from 2.5 Men, you got Leslie Bibb, you got Michael Clark Duncan, Paul Sorvino as the mobster guy,
and you mentioned some good actors too. You mentioned Steve Harris, Jesse Usher from Bad Boys is not Bad Boys. The Boys is in yours. Like there's some Aidan Gillen. I think is really fun as the villain here. He knows
Brian
what
White
Aidan Gillen. Oh, Brian White. My bad. He's really gonna Cabin in the Woods. Aidan Gillen, at least he knows what movies he's in. Aidan Gillen, I think, knew exactly what he signed up for, so he's having fun with the villain role. Another thing that, like, you have fun. You're looking forward to his demise in the end here. You don't care about our kid. You don't care about the dog. You don't care about anything in this movie here. Yours is a ripoff of Die Hard. It's a good ripoff. Mine's a ripoff of Beethoven, which wasn't that great to begin with, but it's a worse ripoff.
I mean, it sounds entertaining. It's a super agent spy dog that gets into hijinks with the kid, 2.5 Men kid, and David Arquette.
The plot is so much better than the actual execution.
Michael Clark Duncan, he's great.
And
Steve Harris.
That remark will be stricken from the record.
Oh, poor Steve Harris.
Poor Steve.
Never gets his due.
In continuing with tradition, the person who first answered will also give their final minute, and that is Jordan Pierce Owens in the situation. Jordan, your final minute when you begin.
When I double checked with Arquette, who's had a good indie run, by the way, real wrestler, I knew where I had to go with here, because 12 rounds is not something that even really came to mind here, because it's a good no, but is it absolutely watchable? Yes. Again, WWE, my turn. WWE Studios knew what they were going for. They were going for very borderline B movies here, and that's what you get. You get a movie from Rennie Harlan, who knows what he's doing from previous experience in the 80s and 90s, and he does it here, and at least he knows what he's doing, to where it doesn't look that bad here. There are some well shot sequences here, and you can see there's a little bit of budget here as well. C-Spot Run is a super forgettable movie here, even something I rewatched not too long ago. I'm having trouble of really remembering any kind of moments here. You mentioned the moments where they might be crazy and dumb and over the top, and you're going, really, come on, rolling your eyes. You're still kind of entertained, and you're still waiting for that next scene to maybe roll your eyes again to. C-Spot Run is something you're bored by. It doesn't look good. It looks like it's a made-for-TV movie here. It doesn't execute on the plot of the spy dog. It very much just goes for basic humor. Instead of that, it fails on every level.
And time. Caleb, to close this question out, your final minute when you speak.
All right. So Jordan says it's watchable. It's you're entertained. The only thing I was looking forward to was getting to turn it off. It's not a good movie. It's horrible to watch. It's shaky cam, terrible CGI. There's continuity errors all over the place. They say he's got 30 seconds to do a thing, and then actively in the movie takes like 2 minutes. He's got 7 minutes to get all the way across town, or even like the countdown timers in the for some bombs, and he's got to drive down to the harbor for some reason. It goes off, but then he's still got time to throw it out the fire truck into the harbor. It's stupid. C-Spot Run, I couldn't see it, but there's no way that it's his worst movie. You got Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Eight-Legged Freaks, Ready to Rumble. Like, there's just the list of David Arquette movies that aren't good are vast, and the depths are unplungeable.
And time. Another fantastic debate. We will bring our magic judges back. Again, I guess I do not write questions that require fact checking because not a lot to be had there. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. One thing I can say is that I can totally drive across town 4 times in 37 minutes, but that's because I live in a town of 2,000 people. I assume the town in a movie is going to be bigger than that. With that said, that is all the time I can vamp for you. So, Ryan, Caramel Mountain Pain, what say you on this question?
Well, I'm going to go with mashed potatoes on this one. I mean, as much as Jordan was bringing up a lot of turning things around, saying how 12 rounds was more entertaining, though, it still doesn't change the fact that Caleb did bring up some parts of the film that really doesn't click when you're hearing both of them. Like, you're literally hearing 2 different movies. But Caleb at least stayed consistent on what he was trying to do. So I go with Caleb.
Papa, who won this one for you and why?
JPO, also hashtag Tato's wrong. You can always fact check anything, regardless of what is going on. That being said, a debate is not only about saying why your answer is correct, it's also by saying your opponent's answer is wrong. JPO did a good job in kind of building up 12 rounds as it wasn't supposed to be great, but there were still some good moments on there. And I don't feel mashed potatoes brought anything really saying as why C-Spot Run was not the worst movie.
Fair play there. Rich G, I will ask for your opinion next.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same wavelength as Papa here. Like, I think mashed potatoes did a really good job at building as to why 12 Rounds is a bad movie, but I didn't hear as to why it's a worse movie than C-Spot Run. I'm going JPO here because I think it was he did a better job explaining why 12 Rounds is not the worst movie. Whereas I think by not seeing C-Spot Run, it kind of hindered him a bit. So I'll go JPO.
Alrighty. I believe with all of that said, and your winner by way of knockout, Jordan Owens.
Is this where I speak?
Yeah.
Man, always fun playing mashed potatoes here. Thank you for setting it up, Tato. Here, some good questions. I'm glad I could avoid that last question. But always fun here. Good debate here. I was never cocky in any way of any of the outcomes here. He really nailed it right back to me, man. And thanks for putting this on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You did a really good job tonight, bringing the points that you needed to get through there. So in terms of, kind of what's next for you, we're doing a kind of continuing the tradition of old with Battleground. We are going to be doing a end of year tournament. It used to be the 16 best players in the league would be put into a tournament. With this win tonight, you do fall within that threshold. You would be getting one of the lower seeds in the tournament of that thing. So obviously you'll be playing a bit of a tougher opponent, at least in terms of statistics next time. But if you would like a spot in the tournament, you certainly have one potentially on
Absolutely.
So how are you feeling about that?
No, that's cool to hear, man. You know, I love these. You know, even when I lose, I love them. You know, they just motivate you to maybe try to do better next time here. So I love that. You know, I'm in that tournament here. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I want to face anybody. I love facing someone different. It was great having the rematch here, but I'm looking forward to some new challenges as well. Seeing battling different people.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, you did a great job tonight. Jake, do you have anything else for your competitor of choice here before we send him off?
I wouldn't call him my competitor of choice. That sounds a little sketchy.
You chose for him to be here in a match that you wrote.
I thought it was quite sweet. Just go with it, Tato.
They're both my competitors of choice, obviously.
I would say the same thing to Kayla. Yeah. All right, we're just going to send him out of here.
Wiggity.
All right, guys.
No, Jordan, fantastic job. What would you like in your next opponent?
I'm down for anyone, man. Like I said, someone I haven't faced yet. Just looking forward to climbing the ladder as much as I can.
I'm not in a condition to actually make anything happen with that statement, but I just
want to see
what you would say.
Do it.
Cheers.
All right, man. Jordan, thank you so much, sir. We'll see you next time.
Take
care, man. As we will bring in your opponent, Caleb Hansen. Caleb, man, it's a tough game. Nobody ever likes to lose, especially by knockout. But I think it was one of those cases where you were on the cusp of it every round. You just couldn't quite seal it across the line. But some of those points you made were really, really good, especially in those first 2 rounds. I think you had some great stuff to say. So kind of what are your feelings on the match?
I mean, on the match overall, I'm happy. It was a fun time. I have a good time doing this, and I fought as hard as I could. I mean, it was pretty obvious that I had a problem with question 2, but in that, I did what I could. I fought as hard as I could, which was like the worst thing because I love that. I love SLC Punk. I think everybody should see SLC Punk. It's a great friggin' movie. It hurt to have to fight against it, but other than that, this was just a ton of fun. It's always great playing JPO. I didn't lose my temper at him this time, so I'm improved. That guy's got my goat though, so I don't know. Overall, a lot of fun.
I know what it feels like to have kryptonite. All of my losses so far have been to Henry Sanchez, so I know how it feels to have that one person who just gets you every time.
Yeah.
So in terms of your future right now, based on your statistic and ranking, you technically fall outside of our end of year tournament. You are the first person on the list who does not qualify. However, there are a handful of players who are still yet to play their final match leading into the tournament that are within a similar record of yours right now, meaning if one of them were to lose, that would bump you up into the 16th slot. So obviously that would mean you're potentially getting a very tough opponent, but it would give you a chance to play into the tournament. If that opportunity does come, is it something that interests you, or how are you feeling the next time you come back around?
I mean, absolutely. I'm always interested to compete. This is super fun. So if I could get into the tournament, fingers crossed somebody really craps the bed and messes up their record worse than mine, because 2-2.
Tato's here. Your record's not that bad, all things considered.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, I was definitely referring to my record and not any other situations that occurred recently.
But also, if I don't qualify for the tournament, man, I'm just here to have fun. So whenever I can get in, I'll get in, and we'll have a great time. So if hopefully if somebody is beating me out, they're more entertaining than me, because that's all I care about.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate having you here tonight. My goal is, with the spots that are left in the year, if you're not in the tournament, to try and get everyone at least one more match. if you're not in the tournament, then you would certainly be one of the higher ranked competitors. So you have a good chance of at least coming back one more time. Tato, do you have anything for your, I will use that term again, competitor of choice here tonight before we sign off?
Yes, indeed. You are 2-2. I am 0-3, so it will be a minute, but I'm hoping you will accept my future challenge to some potato on potato crime, and we will have an excellent battle.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be great. I think it'd be a lot of fun to fight you again. I think, what did we do? We did one of the exhibition matches, and I got to play you. But yeah, I'd love to do that again, man. It'd be a lot of fun.
Heck yeah.
All right, man. Well, Caleb, thank you for being here tonight, sir. We appreciate you. It was a good fight, and we will see you next time that
Thanks
you are
for
back.
having me.
All right, guys. And that is the sunset, so to speak, on another edition of the Movie Battleground. Jake, I'll go over to you since I normally don't have a second person here. I'll ask you, what are your kind of wrap-up thoughts on the matchup?
That was fun, and I wasn't as terrible as anticipated, I think. So I see this as an absolute win.
That's all we can ask for, I guess. Guys, thank you so much for watching this. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment below, do all the things for interaction to help other people potentially find this show. I want to thank Jake for his contributions tonight in writing our questions. Any that weren't used tonight will be used at some point in the future. So thank you for all of your submissions in terms of the writing and for setting this up. I want to say thank you once again to our competitors, Caleb, Hansen, and a congratulations to Jordan Owens on a great game tonight. I look forward to having both of you guys back in the future. A thank you to our judges. We have, of course, Papa West, Ryan Payne, and I believe this was his first match judging tonight, Richie Goodacre. I just realized I'm not sure how that's going to air, but, you know, in terms of chronology, this was his first match. Maybe the other one airs first. I don't know. But he was here, so thank you, sir, for being here. And please be sure to check out other matches. Next weekend, we have 2 big matchups coming up. Of course, as always this summer, we have our Summer Invitational Tournament, which Tato is a part of. That's not this weekend's match. For this weekend, we have Will Cohen taking on Kevin Poss, who is fresh off of a KO victory, looking to maybe build on that a little more. And then moving into Sunday, July 31st, we are literally ending the month with maybe the next biggest match that we have on the calendar, which is the #1 Contenders match. It's been in the tank for a little while. Schedules have had to really struggle to align in order to make it here. But Chad Webb and Sean Hunter are on the path to a title. The winner will be taking on our champion, Henry Sanchez, once we have that winner. So that will be this Sunday. But with all of that said, thank you guys for watching. On behalf of the producers here at Movie Battleground and Mr. Tato, my name is Aaron Knoll, and we will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.